watching KSL Sports Live.
Be the best to win it. You've got to be able to beat the best.
It's a dogfight every single time you play them.
You know that you're going to have the toughest game on your schedule when you play Utah.
They play hard. They play hard. They play hard.
Yeah, they're just a well-oiled machine.
They're going to give you their best game. They're the Pac-12 championships for 2 times. You know, you're getting everything when Utah plays you.
You have to look to Utah, and that's the standard.
And the Utes three-peat. This is the KSL Sports Utah football preview for the 2023 season, brought to you by Mountain Land Truck Outfitters. The next 30 minutes is all about Utah football.
Yeah, we have interviews with head coach Kyle Whittingham and quarterback Cam Rising. Will he be healthy and ready for the season opener? We'll look at the top 5 games on Utah's schedule this season, and Stevenson Sylvester, he'll be joining us to give us the inside scoop on the Utes roster this fall.
Yeah, let's start with this, though. Who can argue that the Utes have the toughest schedule in the Pac-12? But with that comes great opportunity for a special season. It starts with hosting the Florida Gators on August 31st. Then a challenging non-conference schedule continues at Baylor on September 9th. After Weber State, the Utes begin a tough stretch of the Pac-12 schedule that features games against UCLA, Oregon State on the road, USC on the road in Oregon. 4 of those games in 6 weeks. And if they survive that gauntlet, that game in Seattle on November 11th looms large and could determine who makes the Pac-12 championship game.
And how about this? Since Utah joined the Pac-12 in 2011, only Stanford and Oregon, and now the Utes, have ever won back-to-back conference championships. No team has won 3 in a row. And the Pac-12 media doesn't think Utah will either. The Utes were picked to finish 3rd this season in the preseason polls behind USC and Washington. USC has been the face of the conference for years. But maybe now, despite what preseason polls say, Utah is the Pac-12's premier program.
We're proud of what we've accomplished the last couple of years and don't pay a whole lot of attention to the preseason hype stuff.
Do you feel like Utah is one of the premier programs at this conference?
Well, we're working towards that, and that's what we're ultimately striving for, is to continue to build our brand and to be on the national scene. So I guess we'd be certainly one of the more successful teams that is returning when not only when they leave, but now. We feel like we're in the mix right now for that.
To be one of the premier programs in the Pac-12, you got to have an elite offense, and Utah believes they have built just that under Kyle Whittingham. An offense that was top 4 in the conference in total yards in last season's championship run. A well-balanced attack, 2nd in the conference in rushing yards last fall, averaging nearly 220 yards per game, and the number 1 team in the Pac-12 in rushing touchdowns with 38. And Cam Rising, he leads a passing attack that had 3,500 yards passing and the 3rd most passing touchdowns in the conference. An offense loaded with talent at every position and has gained the respect of their conference rivals.
It's a long list of guys, especially you got the tight ends and everything. The running backs are going to be unreal, O-line. So we're ready. We're built for it, and it's going to be a good year for us.
In my opinion, I'm going against the best quarterback in the conference, if not the country, every single day in practice.
Yeah, they're just a well-oiled machine. Like, they well coached, having a good quarterback like Cam. He's a real scrappy guy.
They consistently, they play hard. They play hard. They play hard. I think the thing about Utah that makes them so elite is that it's a dogfight every single time you play them.
They're very talented, very big, very athletic, and I got to bring certain type of moves in when I'm playing them. Yeah.
What Coach Whittingham has installed in their DNA traits as just being a tough team. A run first team, but also being able to throw the ball now.
Yeah, the offense is stacked. I think top to bottom. So I'm looking forward to getting back out there with those guys. Physically, still developing there, but mentally, I think I'm ready to go. Just looking forward to getting the ball in play.
Are you on track to start week 1?
Yeah, everything right there is going well right now.
There you go, straight from his mouth. Cam Rising plans to be ready for the season opener against Florida less than 9 months after an ACL injury in the Rose Bowl. His availability in Game 1 and beyond key to the Utes' quest for a three-peat. Utah knows how valuable he is to their Pac-12 title hopes, and so does the rest of the conference, where he has earned respect among players and coaches.
Rising up the middle. He's in!
One of my favorite players to watch. I told him that and introduced myself. What a competitor. The guy's just hell on wheels.
When I tackled him, it was so hard to get him down on the ground. I was like, Cam, man, like, why are you so hard to take down? I'm like, and I was just laughing.
I'm a huge Cam Rising fan. I think his toughness and his leadership is kind of beyond parallel in terms of what I've seen over the last couple of years. And, you know, as Cam goes, Utah goes.
He'll throw a ball, get hit in the chin, and hop up. And I think there's something to say about a guy who has that, you know, who plays quarterback with that toughness.
The face of our program right now, his competitive nature, his warrior-like mentality, his work ethic, second to none.
All right, Stevenson Sylvester joining us now to dissect this Utah roster before we hit kickoff here in late August. And we're going to start off with the offense. And Sly, I think you can't start talking about the Utes offense without first talking about their quarterback situation. At Pac-12 Media Day, Coach Witt told me, Cam Rising, they both told me that he's on track to be ready for the season opener against Florida. How big of a difference is it if he's in there to start the season and when he's not in there?
I think the first game of the year is the first game that is okay for Cam Rising to miss. One, because your opposing team has no idea what to game plan for. They don't know everybody who's on the roster. All the offseason moves that the Utes have made makes this extremely interesting. That's why the first game of the year is extremely hard. And especially it's not a common opponent, right? Florida's not a common opponent against Utah. But the versatility of this offense, from the transfers that have come in, from the stable running back situation that we have, the versatile tight end room that we have, the big a receiver room from Micah Pittman to Devon Vele to Money Parks. You don't know who's going to get the ball. And when you have multiple quarterbacks as well, Bryson Barnes, Nate Johnson, Brandon Rose, you can deliver the ball in many different ways. So if Cam Rising was to miss the first game of the year, it's good that it's the first one.
And running the football will take pressure off of the quarterback, whoever's behind there. And they're going to have some options. Obviously, Mekhi Bernard chose to come back to Utah. He wasn't so sure at the end of the Rose Bowl. He's back. Jaquindon Jackson made a seamless transition from quarterback to that running back. He seems to have a lot of energy there in the backfield as well. You got Chris Curry back as well. I mean, they've got options.
Jaquindon Jackson, former quarterback, he still got that in him. And it's going to be amazing to see how he handles that this year of having a full offseason at running back. Still got a little quarterback juice in him, so expect a lot of Wildcat this year as well. I think that's going to be an interesting thing to throw into that first game if Cam Rising isn't ready to go. Have Wildcat, that way Jaquindon Jackson can even throw some balls for you. Jaquindon Jackson is my running back number one. He's my first down back. Now when I get to second and third down, when I got to get versatile, I can use any running back in that room. There's just a lot of things that are at Andy Ludwig's disposal this year.
One thing that's not at his disposal this year is Dalton Kincaid, who went on to the NFL. But they do have Brant Kuithe, who's back. He's healthy, ready to go. Can he replicate the same kind of production that Dalton had? And what other options do they have there?
Yeah, if we remember, Brant Kuithe was on fire before his injury. He's going to get right back to form. He's had a lot of time to recover. I've seen him running around. He looks great. The way Andy Ludwig moves Brant Kuithe in this offense from motion to putting him in the backfield to putting him out wide. The same thing we did with Dalton Kincaid. I think Brant Kuithe is going to be on fire. He might have an All-American performance, but they have other guys in that room. You know, Thomas Yasmin, Landon Keaton coming over as a transfer from Auburn. I think they can make this tight end room extremely versatile. We could literally go 13 personnel on the first down and then go 4 wides on the next down. Imagination galore when you look at the talent on this team.
All right, Sly, you'll be back a bit later on to talk about the Utes defense.
This roster is loaded with talent. Which one of those players do you believe will be most key to the Utes' success this season? Well, we put together a list of the top 5 Utah players to watch this fall, brought to you by Mountain Land Truck Outfitters. And here is the list. Start with Lander Bard. In no particular order here. Won the Pac-12 Defensive Freshman of the Year in 2022. The third straight year a Ute has won a Pac-12 Freshman Award. 46 tackles, 8 for a loss, and 4.5 sacks. Even more is expected of him as a sophomore. He was named second-team preseason All-Defense in the Pac-12.
How about one player opposing team should not overlook, according to Coach Witt, is defensive end Connor O'Toole. He's got our attention for sure. The former wide receiver turned pass rusher emerged to start the final 4 games of the season last fall. He recorded 41 tackles, 4 for loss, 1.5 sacks. He will make it tough for Pac-12 quarterbacks this fall.
Another defensive lineman, Junior Tafuna, was the Pac-12 Defensive Freshman of the Year in 2020. Now a junior, he's expected to be one of, if not the best defensive tackles in the Pac-12 and maybe the country. He's already played 27 games as a Ute, The Bingham High grad was named to the preseason first-team defense in the Pac-12.
Brant Kuithe is back. He is healthy. He played just 4 games last season before suffering that season-ending knee injury. Prior to that, though, you might remember he was a 3-time All-Conference tight end for the Utes. When healthy, Kuithe is one of the top tight ends in the country. He was picked first-team All-Conference this preseason.
He should have a big year, and so should this young man. After making the move from quarterback to running back midseason last year, Jaquindon Jackson established himself as RB1 with a strong 2022 season that helped the Utes repeat as champs. 531 yards and 9 touchdowns. Back-to-back 100-yard games against Colorado and USC in the Pac-12 championship. He finished strong. What could he do for a full season as RB1? We will find out soon. The KSL Sports Utah football preview continues next with a look at the top 5 games in 2023.
And we haven't forgotten about that Utes defense.
Playmaker for this year that's going to be awesome is bringing Sac Lake City back.
Ooh, Sly's back with his thoughts on Utah's defense, the challenge of facing some of the best quarterbacks in the country. His players to watch, and could the Utah secondary be better despite the departure of Clark Phillips?
Rising flings it downfield. And he's got the tight end. Walsman is 3 inside the 15, and he rumbles on in.
All right, if your football adrenaline isn't pumping yet, just wait. We've got the Utah football highlight reel on the way.
Defense wins championships. Well, it's a cliche that has been around just as long as the game of football. Does it still apply, though, in 2023? Well, the Utes hope so.
Yeah, you know, of all the contenders in the Pac-12 this season, Utah returns 8 starters from last season and looks to have the best defense in the conference once again.
Yeah, they're loaded with talent. They have the talent and depth at each position group on defense. Junior Tafuna, Karene Reed, and Cole Bishop were named first-team preseason All-Conference. Van Fillinger's Backlander Barton, both named second-team. JaTravis Broughton, Zamiah Vaughn, and Jonah Ellis were honorable mention. Utah has the most respected defense in the conference.
Toughness, you know, physicality.
They're one of the most physical teams there is in this country.
They're a hard-hitting football team, I'll tell you that for sure.
Play with a passion. Playing against them last year, you could just see it. You can just tell those guys are different.
Disciplined, very disciplined.
They play together, not one man slacks.
You know what to expect, but they don't really mess up on anything. So
they present different looks. You know, they can show you one thing and then play another.
I remember playing them last year, and we had some success in the first half. And in the second half, they came out and played cover 0, blitz 0, like 15 times. They play the game so fearless and so aggressive that their kids feed off of their belief in them.
In the secondary, Cole Bishop's the leader of that group.
When you look at that hard-nosed safety that just comes down and hits people, like that's literally, like I see an image of him. So
relentless, smart, nasty ball hawks. That's our culture. You know, that evolves for everything.
Not many people have that confidence, and I think that's the swagger they play with that I hope our guys that we can create within our football program.
The Pac-12 has the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, 7 3,000-yard passers, a combined plus 195 touchdown to interception ratio, and all of them will be back on a Pac-12 offense this fall. The Pac-12 conference this fall is the conference of quarterbacks, and it will be Utah's weekly challenge to figure out how to stop each of these quarterbacks. Utah's defense has perennially been one of those most difficult to throw the ball against. Last fall, the Utes had the second best pass defense in the Pac-12, third most in interceptions. Pac-12 quarterbacks, as good as they are, they know what they're up against.
It's unbelievable right now. I think it's the best I've ever seen it, and I think it's only going to get better.
There's a lot of great quarterbacks. I feel like we all do different things on the field. We all lead different ways. You know, I'm excited to put myself up there with them.
As a group, each one of us possess different qualities. That is what we stick out. And I'm excited to play against a lot of those guys this year.
The level of quarterback play is going to be extremely high. You're gonna have to be able to score in this league to win.
Sure, it's like a big game hunt right now. You know, it's all these prize quarterbacks that you get to go after that are the talk of the town.
In my opinion, I'm going against the best quarterback in the conference, if not the country, every single day in practice. So being able to go against him when we go out on the field, it's not a big difference.
I'm excited to have that, and it should be a fun one.
Sly is back to take a deep dive into this Utah defense. It's the year of the quarterback in the Pac-12, right? So many great quarterbacks are back. High-powered offenses, but Sly, I say, the best defense in the Pac-12 wins the championship this year. So let's talk about this Utah defense. Are they good enough to put pressure on these quarterbacks? Are they good enough to slow down these offenses enough to give them the edge and win these games and repeat?
Yeah, that's crazy, right? We look at the tradition of football and defense wins championships, right? But over the last decade, offenses have come up at paramount, right? These offenses are putting up so many points. So it's going to come down to which defense can step up enough, right? You're not going to stop these guys. You're not going to slow down these quarterbacks. You're not going to slow down these offenses. But which defense can step up just enough to slow down a quarterback to win a football game? You got pressure coming up the middle with Smote Peppa and Junior Tafuna. That is huge. Everybody's seeing the trend in the NFL with these D linemen and D tackles are creating pressure up the middle. That wasn't traditionally like that. And it's making fits for these quarterbacks because they can't step up into the pocket, which is forcing them out to your defensive ends. And we got a room full of great defensive ends with Jonah Ellis, Van Fillinger, Connor O'Toole. This room is stacked and ready, and the way that Lou Powell and Morgan Scalley rotate this defensive line, it'll keep them fresh.
You mentioned a lot of talent there. Who is the stars? Who's going to step up? Who are the guys who are going to star on this defense and become stars this year for this Utah team?
Man, you could go all across the board. But I think the playmaker for this year that's going to be awesome is bringing Sack Lake City back is Jonah Ellis.
Ooh, okay.
Right? I need Jonah Ellis. He's going to come back. His versatility, I can just see Morgan Scalley, salivating at, right? Just what you can do with him from the offenses that we're going to face in this league. You're going to see a lot of spread offenses and these quarterbacks getting the ball out, which is going to make us have to have an innate pass rush. He has an amazing first step, which is what we loved in Brandon and Nate Richard and Hunter Dimmick. And Jonah Ellis has an amazing front step. First of all, I think he's got great genes. And then Luther Ellis. Yeah. But I think that he's going to have a tremendous year, and I think that now that he's healthy, he's ready to step up and make that happen.
Connor O'Toole's another guy to look out for on that edge. You've got to get to the quarterback in the Pac-12. Okay, how do you replace an All-American defensive back? Clark Phillips, now in the NFL at the Atlanta Falcons. He was so good for so long. How good's that back end going to be against all these great quarterbacks?
You know what? I feel like they'll be even better.
What?
Yes.
Really?
I do. Because when you have, that singular focused guy, Clark Phillips, right?
Yeah.
As great as he was, they put a lot of onus on him. It's like Clark's got to do it. You don't have that focal point guy, but you do have a lot of experienced guys who are capable. You spread that love out around everybody. And now you just line up. The guy that is in front of you is who I'm taking care of. Whether it's the number 1 guy or number 3 guy in that offense, I can do that. Simplify the game and just do what they do best. I think they'll be even better as a unit.
Interesting. If that's the case and all these guys step up like you say, no reason why the Utes can't win back-to-back-to-back Pac-12 championships. Sly, thanks so much.
All right, so when you look at the Utah's schedule this fall, which games are circled on your calendar? Our KSL Sports department ranked our top 5, brought to you by Mountainland Truck Outfitters. Number 5, the first road game of the season in Big 12 country against Baylor. Number 4, the rematch with Florida, this time at Rice-Eccles in just 33 days. Number 3, Oregon on October 28th. Number 2, likely the final meeting with USC at the Coliseum on October 21st. And number 1, Pac-12 title could come down to that game, Utah-Washington on November 11th. All right, we're not done yet. Coming up, we'll get you pumped up for the season with the Utah football highlight reel.
Well, the wait is almost over, Ute fans. The Utes kick off what could be another special season on August 31st against the Florida Gators.
And if you're not excited about that yet, you will be after this. This is the Utah highlight reel, and it starts right now.
This is your football team, not my football team. This is Utah's football team, and I'm your football coach. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to get you to the top. I guarantee it.
Utah football, built on tradition. Win after win. Play after play.
Side pass.
It just doesn't get old.
In the middle, big hit. That's a fumble. Not a ball. A scoop. A touchdown.
Even on the big stage.
It's the perfect Utah Utes.
To be nice. Yeah, this life I'm living. All the advice been tipping. Give me that cool, no slipping. Out of my mind, we're tripping. Tell me take 2 when I'm on 1. That look out like no one. Keep it real tight like your son. We gon' praise our way. I'm the great. Let them speakers praise.
as he's looking in that direction. Now he looks back middle, throws, and it's caught. End zone touchdown.
Rising flings it downfield. And he's got the tight end. Wiseman is free. Inside the 15. And he rumbles on in.
Let's go! And we created a dynasty. 2 in a row. Let's keep going.
A Utah man, am I.
Thank you so much for watching the KSL Sports Live Utah football season preview, brought to you by Mountain Land Truck Outfitters.
All right, we've got the Cougs done with. We've got the Utes done with. Buckle up, Aggie fans. It's your turn next week. You don't want to miss out on that one.
To be the best, to win it, you've got to be able to beat the best.
It's a dogfight every single time you play them.
You know that you're going to have the toughest game on your schedule when you play Utah.
They play hard, they play hard, they play hard.